Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about steel targets, and following some of the conversations I see in my videos posted on YouTube, I know that a lot of you guys have questions about shooting steel. Questions like, what makes a good steel target? Is it safe to shoot steel? And other questions that are related to steel. And to help answer those questions, I have Brad here from Challenge Target, who manufactures some really good targets that you see featured pretty regularly here on the Military Arms channel. Brad, thanks for coming out.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So what have you brought out today for us to shoot? We have some pistol targets, some rifle targets, all sorts of good stuff.
A little bit of everything. Yeah, we want to focus on our new stake target design, which utilizes a ground stake to support the target. You just drive it in the ground. It's 1/4 inch steel. It's got a gusset on here to keep it from spinning. We use die springs to get movement. You'll see that common theme on a lot of the targets that we'll be shooting here today, but yeah, we'll shoot some handguns and some rifles and talk about safety and what makes a good steel target.
All right, cool. And we got some pretty cool stuff in store for you guys, especially when we get to the part where we're talking about shooting mild steel and why it's a bad idea. I know a lot of you guys talk about making your own steel targets, and we're going to talk about why that you may want to consider not doing that and consider buying properly made steel targets. That's enough talking. Let's get to doing some shooting.
Sounds good to me.
All righty. What we're going to do is we're going to take some mild steel. How thick is this steel?
3/8 inch thick.
3/8 inch thick, so you can see how thick this steel is. Now, some of you guys that are making your own steel targets, you may find some excess steel laying around the barn, whatever. You may try to make a steel target out of something like this. And what we're going to show you is we're about 50 yards away from this target. And what we're going to show you is what each of these rifle calibers that we have, which we have some 223, some 6.2x39, and 308. We're going to show you what they do to this steel and just how much damage they can cause. And then we're going to talk about why that damage is dangerous to the shooter potentially.
Exactly.
So Brad, why don't you go ahead and show them how easily this target assembles. Drops right on. It's at an angle, so we're deflecting some of the stuff down into the dirt. And now we're going to go back to about 50 yards and shoot it and see what happens.
We'll give it a shot. Let's go.
We're downrange after shooting this 3/8 inch mild steel plate with a 5.56 round, a 308 round, and a 7.62x39. Now the 5.56 was an M193 ball round. This was just a standard Tula ball round, which is 123 grains. And what was the 308 round you fired?
It was a standard full metal jacket.
Just a standard full metal jacket, probably 168 grain or something like that, or 147 grain.
168.
So was 168, so it was a match round. So you can see what it did to this mild steel. It put a deep crater, each one of these rounds put a deep crater into the steel plate, and then you have the deformation of the metal coming out around each of the bullet holes, which makes a jagged edge that you can actually cut yourself on. Now imagine what happens if you shoot this steel target 100 times or 1,000 times. They won't make it 1,000 rounds probably, no. But why is that bad? Why is that dangerous? Why are each one of these impact rounds increasing the likelihood that the shooter might actually get hurt?
All of those jagged edges create a point in which there could be a fragment that comes back. A round going into this divot would create a point where a round can come back. On hardened steel, you want the bullet to fragment completely. On softer steel like this, you run the potential of a bigger piece of the bullet actually coming back.
Right. So in essence, that bullet can come in, hit one of these jagged edges, and shed part of its jacket, part of its core, and it can come right back straight to the shooter. Now, I have an actual real story of that happening. When I was a kid in high school, a good friend of mine was shooting mild steel with an HK91 with a 308 round. The bullet hit the mild steel. We were probably well within, probably 30 yards of the steel plate. And that bullet, even though it penetrated the steel plate, a piece of that jacket and core came back, hit him in the chest, hooked through his lung, and stopped 2 millimeters from his aorta. It almost killed him. We had to take him to the hospital. So it is very dangerous. Now that brings up another point. We were shooting this at 50 yards. You do not want to shoot steel with a rifle inside of 100 yards.
That's what's ideal, is you want to be at 100 yards. That's why we rate all of our targets.
So even if you have a properly made hardened steel target, don't shoot at it with center fire high powered rifles inside 100 yards to avoid getting hurt by bullet fragments.
This is true.
We've pulled off that 3/8 inch mild steel plate, and what we're going to take now is a Challenge Target 3/8 inch thick AR500 steel plate. We're going to put it on the post, and we're going to shoot it at 50 yards with the same 3 calibers. Now what we're going to see, I hope, I know, is a drastic difference in the performance of the steel plate. We're not going to see any deep divots. What we're going to see, basically, will equate to splatter marks, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so let's head back to the 50-yard line and hit this plate with the same 3 calibers. We're back down range after firing the same 3 calibers at this challenge target AR500 steel plate, and of course the results were drastically different than shooting the mild steel. The bullets impacted, you can see here, basically chipped the paint off the target. The 5.56 put the slightest indentation into the steel, but the others are smooth. Now, believe it or not, 5.56 is one of the hardest rounds to stop and does quite a bit of damage to steel plates.
Yeah, it's the hardest of the 3 on the steel plates.
It really is. And then when you're shooting it inside of 100 yards, you're increasing the wear and tear on the steel plate. So there's 2 reasons why you don't want to shoot steel inside of 100 yards. First of all, you really need that 100-yard range to slow that bullet down, so when it does hit the steel plate, it minimizes the damage to the plate, which is minimal anyway, even at 50 yards. But it increases the life of the plate, but also there's safety concerns. You don't want to be shooting a bullet that's moving that fast at steel, because there still is a chance something can come back to the shooter.
That's correct. And with this design, this is one of our standard designs. It's in the stake target category. There's several things that we do on this design to help with the fragments coming back and the durability of the steel. One is the Burnell hardness of the steel. We're using AR500 steel, like we've mentioned. 2 is the way that it's mounted with springs to give it some flex. Also, there's some flex in the stand itself. That helps absorb some of the energy. And we do use grade 8 bolts to mount the target itself. This design sells for $179. It comes with the head assembly and the stake itself.
All right, looks good. Some of the conversations that you see online regarding steel targets is the discussion between AR500 and AR550 steel. There are some target manufacturers that insist, and some consumers that insist, you must have AR550 before you have a good quality target. Now what we've done, just to demonstrate the differences between AR500 and AR550, and this is not by any means a scientific test, but what we've done is taken this AR550 target, which is not a challenge target, this is just a random 550 plate of steel, and we've shot it with the 5.56, the 308, and the 7.62 by 39. Actually, they hit so close to each other, I'm not sure which is which. I'm pretty sure that's 308 and that's 7.62 by 39. But what we find is the exact same performance of the steel plate. A very slight divot from the 5.56 round and smooth on the 230 caliber rounds. Is there anything else that we should know about the two differences?
I think it's important to note that everything's mounted the same way. We tried to, I know it's not scientific, but we tried to replicate everything the same way.
Right, so we have it mounted to the same head, using the same spring system, mounted to the exact same board. So I thought that was an interesting test, because I've heard those conversations, and I've wondered myself, is there really a big difference between the two? And based upon the simple testing that we've done this afternoon, I really don't see much of a difference.
Advantage or disadvantage, either way.
Yeah, so, all right, cool. Now another question a lot of you guys may have is, what thickness target do I need for handgun target shooting? There's different thicknesses of AR500 steel plate that are available. Obviously one costs more than the other, one's heavier than the other, but what do you recommend when somebody's looking for a good non-magnum caliber steel target?
Quarter inch. Quarter inch thick AR500 does everything you need it to do for non-magnum handgun rounds.
Now in your testing, what have you found in terms of performance of the steel plate? What, does one wear more quickly than the other?
They wear the same.
They really do.
Yeah, what we're finding is that the targets bow. All steel targets, whether they're 3/8 or ½ inch or quarter inch, will bow as you put lots of rounds on them, and we mean lots of rounds on them.
So what we have here, how thick is this target?
This is a quarter inch thick AR500 plate.
So this is a quarter inch thick plate, and I don't know if you can see in the video, but there's an ever so slight bow to this plate. We'll put a straight edge on it and show you the bow that's there. Okay, that comes from this target being shot roughly how many times?
This plate was shot approximately 12,000 times.
12,000 times this plate's been shot, which gives it that slight bow that you see, the curvature. Now, we have another steel plate here. How thick's this one?
This one is 3/8 inch thick.
It's 3/8 inch thick.
Which we would recommend, obviously, for rifles.
And again, it has a slight curvature to it. That's bowing from being shot. And again, what, 12,000 rounds on this one roughly?
Yeah, same round count.
Same round count. And you see the bow is roughly the same. So you're really not gaining anything when you're shooting handgun rounds by spending more money and increasing the weight of the target by buying this thicker steel target. Now, the other thing that's nice about the targets and the way you mount them to the heads is the fact that you can reverse these targets.
That's right. Yeah, we don't weld on the back side of the targets on any of our target plates, so they're all reversible. Which basically what you want to do is once you get to, probably my preference would be in the 4,000 round range to reverse the plate, so that you don't ever see this much bow in it, and it'll actually straighten it back out. These plates you can shoot for, you know, I hate even saying, I don't
make
know,
up a number, right?
Hundreds of thousands of rounds.
Right.
I mean, 100,000, 200,000 rounds.
Just like a car or anything else, simple maintenance, in this case, simply turning the steel target around will increase the life of the target considerably. So if you guys are looking for those pistol targets, look at the thinner steel targets. Yeah,
this is a standard model that we have. That's so that the other factor to consider is the price and the weight, the portability.
Yep.
This is a standard handgun target, 12-inch round, sells for $110. This is a standard rifle rated 3/8 inch thick, sells for $179.
So, which is another good point. If you plan on using your targets both for handgun and rifle, you are going to want the thicker steel plate. You're not going to want to shoot this plate, the thinner plate, with high-powered rifles.
And the weight difference is 19 pounds versus 26 pounds, which isn't a huge amount if you're talking about one target, but if you're talking about hauling a bunch of gear out to the range, that can add up. Or if you're talking about some of the bigger plates that we offer, it can also really add up.
One of the best parts about shooting steel is you get immediate feedback from the target. You'll not only see the target move, but you also hear that distinctive ring of the bullet hitting the steel. Now, some of you guys may have a question is what's a minimum safe shooting distance for handguns when shooting steel? I personally shoot at 7 yards. Now, the manufacturer of these targets, Challenge Targets, they say they test at 7, but they prefer you shoot at 10 yards. Me, I shoot at 7 yards. But check this out. This is part of the fun. So you can see the bullet hit, you can hear the bullet hit, and when I say see the bullet, you can see the splatter in the paint, but you'll also see that target move because it rocks from the bullet impact. No splatters coming back. You may have heard some stuff falling on the roof back here. What happens is when those bullets hit, there's a cone. The bullet's going to splatter on the target, okay? It's going to act pretty much like warm butter hitting something solid, just splatters. It's going to come back at about a 20-degree angle, those bullet fragments. They're going to go up and they're going to go down. Now, if the target's canted slightly forward, you're going to have a lot of that stuff being deflected into the dirt, but you're still going to get a little bit of stuff going up in the air away from the shooter. That banging that you heard probably on the audio is some of those bullet fragments coming back down to earth and hitting the cover that I have over my shooting range here. But other than that, it's perfectly safe. I don't have a problem shooting steel targets, properly made steel targets. I've never been hurt by one ever in thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds. We're still at the 7-yard line, and shooting pistol calibered carbines is safe at 7 yards as well. Here I have my Tavor with a 9mm conversion kit and an AAC suppressor and an MOR red dot sight on it. Again, 7 yards, perfectly safe. Hear all that stuff falling back to earth? Again, that's the bullet fragments spreading out from the target, but safely going up in the air or into the dirt, not coming back at the shooter. Rifles, handguns, whatever, as long as it's pistol caliber, you're still safe within 7 yards. There's a lot of discussion on the internet regarding how the steel plates are cut from the sheet. In my left hand here, I have a laser cut target, and in my right hand, I have a water jet cut target. Now, the discussions center around the fact that the laser runs hotter, or so it's said, and because of the heat, it actually weakens the edge of the AR500 steel, thereby making it softer than AR500. The water jet, it's claimed, runs cooler, and therefore the edge integrity is better, and it is still AR500. It can resist bullet impacts better. So having the laser cut here on my left hand, you can see the divot from a rifle round we fired into the steel plate. Now this is going to happen with just about any type of AR500. If you hit it directly on the edge with a rifle round, you are going to leave a mark. Now here is the water jet cut plate, and you can see the bullet impacts right there. I'll leave it up to you guys as to which one you think is a deeper divot. From what I see, there's very little difference. So another cool thing about shooting steel targets is the fact you can get pretty creative in the design of the target and make the target more interactive. And what we're looking at right now is a brand new target from Challenge Target that's called what?
This is our quick draw target.
The quick draw target is designed to be used so if you have two shooters, you can challenge each other to a quick draw competition to see who, when presenting from a holster, can draw and fire and hit the small target here on the sides. And whoever wins, we know, because the first target to get hit folds in this case, red wins. And then when you want to reset it, you pull a string and the target resets. Now also, if you just knock one paddle in, you can shoot that paddle again and it'll swing back out. However, if both paddles are hit, there's just too much weight here for a 9mm or 45 to actually overcome that weight and knock them back out. You'll have to pull that reset lever. So anyway, this thing looks way too new. We need to go chip the paint on it a little bit.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Up. Pull it.
Got it, boss.
Up. Oh,
that was close.
Up. Over the years, there's been a number of different methods for mounting targets to their heads and then the heads to the stands. The target that I have here is a popular target, or used to be, on a lot of law enforcement ranges. Basically what you have is the target itself setting inside of this metal bracket system, which has mild steel hooks wrapping around that hold the steel plate in place. These mild steel hooks offer really sharp angles that would allow bullets to come back at the shooter, but also these are high wear items. These things tend to get hit. As you can see the bullet impact marks on these, which these break off. It's just not really a very solid design. Now another thing that's been done over the years is taking an AR500 steel plate like this one and welding a bracket to the rear of the plate. Now the problem with doing this that I've found over the years is that when you weld something to the back of the AR500 plate, you're changing the properties of that plate. It's no longer AR500 because you've applied so much heat, you've actually weakened the steel. And in this case, you can see how deep these divots are right around where the weld is. Here's the weld and here's this real deep divot. That's because that weld has weakened this steel. And that's all because this target has a bracket that's welded to it to allow it to fit on the head. Also, you lose the ability with this system to reverse the steel target. Once it starts to wear, you can't just simply turn it around. Mounting steel plates with bolts is not a new idea. It's been done by several different companies, including the company that made this particular target. In this case, they're using a really weak spring, a single bolt mounted to a head, which then allows the target to move. Now, of course, this does absorb that energy, but instead of moving straight down when the bullet hits, this target can actually twist side to side. So taking all these things into consideration, Challenge Target, their heads are mounted with two bolts that have very, very strong springs that prevent it from moving side to side, but allow it to move up and down. And this is one of the best designs out there right now. So there's a lot of reasons why you should shoot steel. We've already talked about it being safe, it's fun, and it's really cost effective, and that's something we haven't talked about. Now, if you're like me, I shoot pretty much every weekend. If you guys shoot regularly and you're going out buying paper targets, you're spending 50 cents, 75 cents a target, especially if you're talking about the full-size IPSC targets. So shooting paper can get quite expensive. Now, a lot of people might look at the cost of a single steel target and go, wow, you know, 170 bucks, that's a lot of money for a target. But in the long run, just even in the course of a single year, if you shoot it a lot, you're actually saving, at least in my case, I save a lot of money in shooting steel, plus I have more fun shooting that steel.
Yeah, and you'll see that with all the police ranges, military, they all use steel targets, and part of the reason is exactly that. It costs, when you're putting a lot of rounds on targets, it's more cost effective to shoot steel.
It certainly is. And you guys offer a number of different targets. We have the stake and shoot targets, which are highly portable, so if you're constantly carrying targets out to the range, they're nice, light, easily set up. You just basically take them out, put them on the ground, stomp them in or pound them in with a sledgehammer, and you're good to go. You also have larger targets like this, which are actually on the shoot stake as well. But you have larger targets, smaller targets. I even have some of your falling targets that I also double duty and use them. You'll see this on the channel quite a bit, holding paper targets up.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different designs on the website. The website's really well laid out. We try to put a lot of photography, different angles of the pictures of the product, so you can see exactly what you're buying. We've got videos for almost all the product just to demonstrate exactly what it does, and that the customers seem to appreciate that.
And speaking about the customers and also the viewers, what Brad has told me here this afternoon is he wants to do a special code, Mk556. If you use that code when you go to the Challenge Target website, you'll check out and get a special discount?
Yeah, we'll come up with a real nice discount for you. Tim can put the details in the link below, and the link will take you to the category, the stake target category on our website. All the products in that category, which includes everything you saw here today, plus a lot more, the discount will apply. You can just enter that code Mk556 as you're checking out. You'll see the discount applied.
Great.
Plus the contest.
And then there's a contest. Challenge Target, you guys are going to be doing a giveaway, $500 worth of stuff. We're
going to put together $500 worth of steel targets. We're going to give away it to one of the Mac viewers. There'll be a link in the description. Follow that link. There'll be all the details about the contest. It's a Challenge Targets contest. We'll pick a winner and we'll ship you $500 worth of targets.
Outstanding. Well, on behalf of all the viewers, I want to thank you for offering the discount and doing that great giveaway. I look forward to seeing the outcome of that.
Thanks for having me out today.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have any questions about anything you've seen in this video, you can ask those questions on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/military arms. If they want to find you guys on the web, what's the best way to find you?
If you go to challengetargets.com, the About Us page, you'll see all our contact information on there. We've got a 1-800 number. I'll probably field most of the calls and the emails. So my email address is on there. My website's on there also.
Great. Again, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon.